Hi guys, it's Michelle and I am coming to you with the second half of Q's post from yesterday. Yesterday being April 27th, today is April 28th. It's 6:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, this is the second time that I've started this, and I've had to quit because my cat is not being very cooperative. She's been like 2 inches from the microphone purring and trying to walk across my computer, and it doesn't matter how many times I put her down, she's back. So I'm going to try this again because I need to get through this tonight. I don't know what has gotten into her. So I wanted to show you this before we go on with the next post. This is the second half of yesterday's post. But I wanted to show you this because I think it's particularly well done, and I saw it, I believe, either Twitter or on the 8chan board, and I believe it was Twitter. So I was not aware of this. Flynn was forced to sell his house to pay his legal bills, which could explain part of maybe why he pled guilty. And now here's a tweet from Trump. This was 12 I know your dates are backwards. I think it's the 12th of the second month of the 17th, I believe. So, or maybe it's 12/2/17. I cannot keep it straight because Canada does it one way and the United States does it completely opposite. And because I'm back and forth between the countries, it confuses the crap out of me. So, anyway, I had to fire General Flynn because he lied to the Vice President and the FBI. He has pled guilty to those lies. It is a shame because his actions during the transition were lawful. There was nothing to hide. Then this is Michael Flynn Jr., American patriot at General Flynn did not lie to Pence or anyone else in the administration about his perfectly legal and appropriate conversations with Russian Ambassador Kislyk in December 2016. Why would a highly decorated military intel officer lie about something legal? Being a mainstream media lie from day one. So here is Q's post from April 25th. So, and it says, we all have a part to play. We knew Flynn would be challenged. Part of the plan? Flynn Jr. recently did not lie to VP, and he's talking about this right here because this was tweeted on April 23rd, 2018, and this was posted on April 25th. So, Q is making reference to this and saying General Flynn Jr. recent did not lie to VP. Timing, plan, signature sent, White House position, moves and counter moves, role outside of White House. And then Q says lost house, funds for legal, beat up, you're watching a movie. So, yeah, he's, and remember on the 27th of April, he said 30 days. I can't remember exactly how it was stated, but something about 30 days. Or no, he didn't say 30. He said 30 to house clean or something. I don't know. I can't keep it all straight. I can't remember every single thing. Okay. All right. So let's go up here, and this over here is just politics, CNN. Did Michael Flynn Jr. just reveal something very, very important about Russian investigation? So anyway, I read one of the mainstream media's what they had to say about Michael Flynn, and it was Michael Flynn Jr. rather, and of course it was derogatory because they're never going to. Oh, well, you know how it is. They're just getting nasty, mean as snakes out there. Okay. So the next one says, reconcile. Reporting incorrect per White House the day before. Enemy, slave, Mueller and U1. Now, I'm not exactly sure right here. I mean, I think Q is saying reconcile. Is the reporting incorrect? Because you've got the report saying, okay, there's no collusion, there's no evidence of collusion, but, you know, you've got Brennan saying, you know, well, you just wait. And I've got his tweet up here in a minute, and we're going to go take a look at it. Well, let's go look at it now. Heck. Why save all the best candy for later? Okay. So here's John Brennan, and he looks like a lovely fellow. He just looks like he's cheerful and just a delightful fellow to be around. I'd love to have him for tea and crumpets. And here's one of his tweets. Mr. Trump, your hypocrisy knows no bounds. Why don't you just come out and tell us how you feel, Mr. Brennan? Your hypocrisy knows no bounds. Jim Clapper is a man of integrity, honesty, ethics, and morality. You are not. Jim Clapper served his country for over a half century, including in Vietnam. You did not. By your words and behavior, you diminished the office of the presidency. Yeah. And that was in response to Donald Trump, who said Clapper lied about fraudulent dossier leaks to CNN. At Fox and Friends, Fox News, he is a lying machine who now works for fake news CNN. Yeah, John Brennan didn't like that. Now, here's another tweet. A highly partisan, incomplete, and deeply flawed report by a broken House committee means nothing. The special counsel's work is being carried out by professional investigators, not political staffers. Supreme Court's findings will be comprehensive and authoritative. Stay tuned, Mr. Trump. And that's in response to him. Just out, House Intelligence Committee report released no evidence that Trump campaign colluded, coordinated, or conspired with Russia. Clinton campaign paid for opposition research obtained from Russia. Wow, a total witch hunt must end now. Yeah, so anyway. He's a lovely fellow. Former CIA director. He's a nonpartisan American. You really sound nonpartisan, too. Who is very concerned about our collective future. Nonpartisan, he calls himself. I believe it. Thousands wouldn't. I do. Okay. So, the reporting is kind of, you know, and you've got General Flynn saying that, I'm guilty, and then you've got the report saying he's not. It's hard to know. How do you reconcile these things? But then he says the day before, I'm not sure what he's talking about the day before, and he says enemy, slave, Mueller, and you won. Well, Representative Louis Gohmert echoed President Trump Wednesday by saying Mueller should never have been appointed in the first place, then called for his firing. Gohmert also accused Mueller of using the Office of Special Counsel to, quote, cover his rear for the problems he created in allowing U.S. uranium to be sold to Russia. So, now, Q says Mueller and then he puts a link here. Well, let's find out what this is, because this was news to me. Special counsel Robert Mueller's finances go public. He gave up a partnership where he made almost $3.5 million since the beginning of 2016 by taking on the role of special counsel. Now, I'm not going to go through all of this because it's not important. It is important, but not in the grand scheme of what we're talking about, it's not. The important part is right here. He gave up a partnership where he made almost $3.5 million since the beginning of 2016 by taking on the role of special counsel. Now, why would you do that? Well, I'd like to believe that he believes that he is doing what is best for his country, or he knows that he's in caca and he wants to cover his hinder parts And he knows that he can do that in the role of special counsel because he played a role in the uranium one. What do you think of that? I don't know. I'm just throwing these things out there. So, I'm leaning towards that interpretation, but I don't know. Again, I don't know. So, Comey said to POTUS, he's not being investigated. Rod Rosenstein said to POTUS that he's not being investigated. And Mueller has told POTUS that he's not a criminal target. And I don't think that we need to go out to these because that's just the backup for this. This is Fox News. Rosenstein tells Trump is not a target in the Cohen investigation. FoxNews.com. Mueller claims Trump is not criminal target in his investigation. And The Hill says Comey testimony proves Trump not under investigation. Now, are they baiting POTUS? I don't know. Why no contact with WikiLeaks Julian Assange? Well, I think that they've cut off those means of contact. I don't think that that's because they don't want to contact him. I think that there's a reason. Now, what that reason is, I don't know, but there hasn't been contact with WikiLeaks and Julian Assange. So, what is being investigated? Well, I would hope that they're investigating, the Clinton aspect of the Russian, the dossier, all that stuff. I don't know precisely what is being investigated. I'd like to know. Do you know? If you know, please tell me. But I would like to think that it's all that stuff. There's no end of the stuff that needs to be investigated. That's for darn sure. Why is Mueller's team stacked with ex-Clinton Democrat senior level authorities? Don't know. It's a good question, isn't it? It's a very good question. Why are POTUS supporters screaming for an end? Well, it's quite obvious, because it's very obvious that there's nothing there. As some would say, it's a big nothing burger. There's just nothing there. Like, how many times? I mean, they just keep going on and on and on, and this is costing the taxpayers money. It's ridiculous, and it just never ends. I mean, now they're saying, okay, well, all right, he didn't collude with the Russians, but he obstructed justice. I mean, they're never going to end. That's the way it feels to me. POTUS witch hunt end. Yeah, it needs to end because there's no evidence of collusion, and yet still they persist. Now, add Rudy. Quiet. Can the investigation officially, publicly drop POTUS from review and continue? I would think not, because that's why the committee was formed in the first place. So to change the direction of what they're investigating, they would have to form a new committee, don't you think? And they've already been, had these people, looking into all this stuff. I don't know. I would think not. I would think that if they dropped POTUS and said, okay, he's not under investigation, people would say, okay, well then the committee needs to disband, right? That would make sense to me. So it wouldn't make any sense for them to keep investigating if, POTUS was not the target. So perhaps this, by keeping it going, it gives them an opportunity to keep looking into this stuff. I don't know, because to tell you the truth, it's hard sometimes to tell whose side is on whose side, because we're told black is white, white is black, and when it looks evident that we can't trust Sessions, that's the time that we're told to trust Sessions. So we can't always know from what we see on the outside what's really happening. Anyway, can the investigation officially publicly draw. Okay, we just did that. Sorry. Why did the Podesta Group close shop? Well, guilty. I don't know of any other reason. They wanted to get out of Dodge. You never hear much about Podestas anymore, do you? I mean, except for the old stuff about them being disgusting pedophiles, which they evidently are. So let's go to this. I don't think I looked at this previously, to tell you the truth. Okay. Now, public access to court electronic records. The federal judiciary has developed a next-gen case management electronic case files system that will allow you to use the same account for both PACER and electronic filing access. More information on the improvements to PACER and CMECF is available. Check back for updates as courts go live on the new system. I'm not sure what he's wanting us to do here, what he's wanting us to look up. It's a case locator. Is a national index for U.S. district bankruptcy and appellate courts. A subset of information from each case is transferred to the PACER case locator server each night. So maybe he's wanting us to look up Podesta, and that's maybe something that I'm going to have to try and do, but not now because I'll be fumbling around everywhere and everyone will get bored and leave. So, yeah. There's got to be information that can be gleaned from there. Obviously, he wouldn't have put it in there. Why are known bad actors in full support of Mueller? It's a good question. Why did POTUS interview FBI Director Mueller a day prior to Supreme Court appointment, if impossible to assign position? That's another good question, and it's a question that he's asked before. That's not the first time Q has asked that question. That was included in very, very early drops because, to tell you the truth, I was under the impression, first of all, when I first started looking into the Q post, I was under the impression that Mueller was playing a black hat but was really a white hat. Then my opinion switched to, no, he's a black hat. He's black as soot. He's blacker than black hat. But now I'm not sure. I'm just going to be perfectly honest with you. I still lean towards black hat, but I'm not leaning so vehemently as I was before. So, why did Sessions recuse? Well, the Attorney General cited a Department of Justice regulation that forbids Department of Justice officials from investigating campaigns of which they were a part. So that is the excuse that Sessions gave for recusing. What are the powers of Huber? And Inspector General Horowitz? John W. Huber is an American lawyer who has served as the United States Attorney for the District of Utah since June 2015. He was first nominated for the position by Barack Obama in February 2015. Huber offered his resignation in March 2017 at the request of the Trump administration. However, United States Attorney General Jeff Sessions subsequently appointed Huber as interim U.S. Attorney under the Federal Vacancies Reform Act. Huber was renominated by President Donald Trump in June 2017. On August 3rd, 2017, he was unanimously confirmed by the United States Senate to an additional 4-year term as a U.S. Attorney. Now, what power that gives him, I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure what he's asking here. What are his powers? Well, he's a U.S. attorney. I don't know. And he's been appointed now as interim U.S. attorney under the Federal Vacancies Act. So I don't know, to tell you the truth. I don't know what his powers are, and in relation to the Inspector General, Horowitz. I bet some of you do, though. And if you do, please leave comments. Okay. Now, we've gone through this one before, and I'm not going to go out to it. It's by Breitbart, and it's Turley Sessions using Utah federal prosecutor much better for Trump. So let's just go out and take a boo at this. Oh crap! Yes, yes. I'm telling you, it's enough to make me want to start drinking. Nope. Item could not be found. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Let's see if we can do it this way. Maybe I can tell you a joke or sing a song or something while I'm, fiddling around here. Okay. Let's see if this will bring it up. And it does. So, appointing Utah federal prosecutor much better for Trump than second special counsel. So, and I'll just read you the introduction here. Washington, D.C. professor Jonathan Turley, a top national legal expert on government investigations, commented on Thursday about Attorney General Jeff Sessions' decision to bring in U.S. Attorney John Huber. Turley called it brilliant to combine all the powers of the U.S. Department of Justice Inspector General with a prosecutor who can bring charges, seek indictments, and get results for President Trump far more quickly than a second special counsel. Okay, so this kind of answers that question then, because John Huber, combined with Horowitz, they can bring... because he's a prosecutor, he can bring charges and seek indictments and get results. So, that's good. That's real good. Who has the power? POTUS, I would believe. Who can know? Now, again, this is a bit confusing to me. Who has the power? I would assume that he's referring to POTUS. Who can know? Are Democrats using as midterm tactic to win House? Are Democrats using as ammo to gain majority to impeach? Impeach on what grounds? There are no grounds. I don't know how they're going to impeach him. If they want, I know that they want to, but I don't know how they possibly could because there's no grounds. What facts exist to impeach? None. There are no facts to impeach him. House report, POTUS, no evidence of collusion. So, yeah, I don't see how they would be possibly able to impeach, but then again, I'm not an attorney, and I don't know all the ins and outs of the legalities here, but I cannot, in my mind, see any reason that he would be impeached. So, now this we've already taken a look at in the last video. The House Intelligence Committee releases Russia report. That's the same one we looked at. And Mueller report will contradict per Brennan tweet today. Now that's the link that I already went out to you, with his very cheerful face. He's a happy guy. So, yeah. And he was basically saying that, Mueller report's going to contradict the report that just came out, the House Intelligence report. So, there's a disconnect that exists. Yes, a big one. There's a big gulf there. Republicans / Democrats negative for POTUS. I'm not exactly sure what he's saying here. Is he saying that the Republicans versus the Democrats negative for POTUS? I don't think so. Or the Republicans report, as compared to the Democrats, or the Democrats compared to the Republicans will be negative for the POTUS. That wouldn't surprise me. Insurance policy. Comey release of memos to obtain Supreme Court. And he's asking that as a question. I don't know. Supreme Court attack POTUS, witch hunt. So Supreme Court attack POTUS, witch hunt. Yeah, absolutely. Supreme Court Comey / Rod Rosenstein state POTUS not under investigation. Flynn pleads guilty to non-committed crime. Strzok interviewed? Well, Strzok is the one that interviewed Flynn, interestingly enough. And Strzok, Page, relationship with judge? Strzok and Page had a relationship with the judge. Yes, they did. So, and this was the judge in the Flynn case. Now, number 2, Strzok, Page, 302, modified. Now, from what I understand, the 302 is like the form that they fill out. Gosh, I did have a link to what that was, and I don't have it anymore. But it's some form of document that they need to fill out in a case where. Let me go see. Because I'm just kind of guessing myself, and I don't want to do that because it's not good for anybody. FBI 302 report. Let's go see what it is. I should have done this before. Okay, in the FBI, what are 302 reports? And this is being answered by Dale Carson, former retired special agent, former Miami police officer at Federal Bureau of Investigation, so I am sure that he should know. Merely a report of an interview or details of an investigation, basically an investigative report. Curiously, in the old days, each office had an obscene safe. If the bank robber used the F word, as in this is a effing robbery, the reporting agent was required to call in a mature stenographer to take the dictation for the FD 302. A special typed report using carbon paper displayed the actual F word typed out completely. This original report was kept in the obscene safe, and a copy of the report with the effing written without actually spelling the word was kept on the rotor file system. Each agent then reviewed the final FD 302 and marked it up with red blue pencil sharpened on both ends. Okay, well, that was in the old days. Right now, it is just merely a report of an interview or details of an investigation, basically an investigative report. So, Strzok interviewed Flynn. He would have had to fill out a 302 form, right? Now, 2 of the Strzok Page 302s were modified. That's big. So, that's interesting. And they had a relationship with the judge. Well, Strzok did, and, because Strzok was in an illicit affair with Page, she did too. And they were discussing having a cocktail party and inviting different people so that they would have a pretense to speak to this judge without drawing attention. So then, Q says, Fusion GPS, the Brits, raw intel, dossier, Five Eyes, Google, DNC rigging superdelegates, funding, voter rolls, agreement. I'm not sure what BS means, agreement BS. I'm trying to think what that would be, and it's not jumping into my head. So, agreement BS election. BS election. Okay, well, you know what? I might be having a brain fade. Voter fraud, CIA, DNI, FBI, DOJ, Secretary of State, President. Now, I'm thinking he's going through here. These are all what's involved. This is all, the CIA was involved, DNI, FBI, DOJ, Secretary of State, President. And they were all involved in this witch hunt, and the FISA documents, getting permission to spy on the Trump campaign, all of that, voter rigging, even the Google, we know all about how that was, the algorithm and everything was in favor of Hillary. So all of this, including Secretary of State, who would have been Hillary Clinton, and the president, who would have been Obama, was involved in this. More than you can imagine regarding Hillary Rodham Clinton insurance win. Well, yeah, she was their insurance against all the stuff that had gone on in the Clinton administration because, and Q asked why? Because she was the cover. The remainder of the illegal acts could be covered. She could cover. She could cover her own hinder parts. She could cover other people's hinder parts, as long as they danced to her tune, I'm sure. Because I'm sure she's blackmailed I don't know how many people in her life. And I'm sure other people have blackmailed her as well. That's the kind of webs they weave, because they practice to deceive. Anyway, why? Cover? Remainder illegal acts? Absolutely. Confused? Supreme Court targeting who? Supreme Court on team? Supreme Court off team? Questions reveal answers. Time will tell. Q. Well, if he's saying time will tell, that means that we're not able to tell at this point, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't have put that in there. He would have said dig or something, but he wouldn't say time will tell. So we don't know. There's a lot of stuff that hasn't come out yet, because it's interesting how all these names, I go back to the beginning and I think how planned this really was, which shows me that it's not a LARP, which we've known for a very long time. But you go back and you see how he introduced names slowly and then wove them together. And, as time went on, you went, oh, I see the connection now. Well, now things are coming together they're flying together much quicker now. And we're making connections much quicker now, because we've got the background of being introduced to these people before. Q will introduce them, then we won't hear about them for a long time, and then bam, they're back in something current, and we understand, because we've been introduced to them before, how they tie to the current situation. It's quite masterful how this is all being done. It's like a dance. And actually, I look at it like a tapestry. And if you've ever seen a tapestry, it can be absolutely gorgeous, absolutely drop dead gorgeous. You turn it over, and it is a mess. It's a mess. And you think, okay, how could this mess ever produce anything? It's just a mess of threads. But you turn it over, and you see how masterfully it was woven. And that's how I look at all of this, because I go back and I think, oh my gosh, I was just seeing a tangle of threads. But now I'm seeing what this is making, and it's a tapestry. So that's how I view this. So let's go on. That was a long post, a very long post. And this I grabbed from someone's Twitter page. and I thought it was interesting, General Flynn has changed his banner from tidal wave to calm surfing water. Now, we know how Q always says, watch the water. That shows us who Q, or who General Flynn, that he's all part of this. He's all part of this. That whole water thing, watch the water. Now, and actually we've already looked at this, so I'm going to get rid of this. We don't need it. And we've already looked at this as well, so about his finances, how much he gave up to be appointed to the special counsel. Okay, and I snuck this out of Donald Trump's tweets. I just clipped it out. And question: if all of the Russian meddling took place during the Obama administration right up to January 20th, why aren't they the subject of the investigation? Why didn't Obama do something about the meddling? Why aren't Dem crimes under investigation? Ask Jeff Sessions. Now that was tweeted the 21st of February. So here's the next post, and I'm sorry, but it's a long one as well. You can blame Q. All right. Cohen raid by FBI. Now, interestingly enough, it was Rod Rosenstein that gave permission in order to legally obtain evidence in Cohen's possession given to him by POTUS pertaining to Hillary Rodham Clinton and Deep State Crime Syndicate. Otherwise, it would not have been admissible. So all these people that are freaking out about the raid on Cohen, it's all part of the movie, I guess. It's all part of the plan, because they wanted POTUS communication with Hillary Rodham Clinton, or pertaining to Hillary Rodham Clinton, rather. And they confiscated not only the stuff about Stormy Daniels, which is ridiculous, but they raided those communication records as well. So interesting. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been admissible. Now, the public context, payment to Stormy Daniels. Now, Q is asking us here, public context regarding payment to Stormy Daniels? Yeah, that was the public pretense, that they were going in trying to obtain the payment to Stormy Daniels. That's what the pretense was. That's what everything, the media, everyone believed. But we're to believe, via Q, that's not why. So, Supreme Court and FBI raided POTUS attorney to pull Stormy Daniels' payment info? Well, again, that was the pretense. Monday's raid led to the seizure of records, including communications between Cohen and Trump. Cohen's lawyer said in a statement, also seized were documents related to a $130,000 payment Cohen had admitted making to the porn actor Stormy Daniels, according to the New York Times, which first reported the raid. So, then Q says, Rod Rosenstein signed off? Yeah, he sure did. Sorry. Yeah, the raid was carried out after a referral from the special counsel, Robert Mueller, to the New York-based federal prosecutors, a lawyer for Cohen said. So, yeah, Rod Rosenstein had to sign off on it, but it was a referral from the special counsel, Robert Mueller, to the New York-based federal prosecutors, and this, according to a lawyer for Cohen. Now, what other docs were collected? Well, all Trump's communications with his lawyer were seized, which that included his communications with his lawyer pertaining to Hillary Rodham Clinton. How many places were raided? His house and office, and I heard that there was a third place, but I can't remember, some sort of cottage or summer home or something like that. I'm not sure, but if you know, please put it in the comments below. But at the very least, it was his house and office. Raid on the President of the United States Attorney for payment details regarding private case regarding Stormy Daniels? Yeah, it doesn't make sense, does it? It doesn't make any sense. Think logically. How do you introduce evidence into an investigation legally? Well, the info regarding Hillary Rodham Clinton and deep state crimes will be able to be introduced into evidence if obtained during the raid. During the raid, which it was. Who has everything? Mueller. Methods which info collected obtained. Well, I would say that they're obtained legally, because I don't see how what would be gained if they were obtained illegally. How would that benefit POTUS at all? It wouldn't. So admissible in the court of law? Yeah, they were obtained legally. They were requested by Mueller, who was doing an investigation. They were signed off by Rod Rosenstein, and so yeah, they were obtained legally. As far as I know, admissible in a court of law? Well, absolutely. I mean, if you are doing a raid on somebody's house because you suspect that they have guns, well, not, you suspect they have illegal guns. I guess that would probably be more pertinent to the Canadian society than American, but I don't know. Say that you're raiding someplace because you've heard that they have they're dealing drugs, or they have a meth lab in there. Okay, so you go in legally, you obtain a warrant, you go in legally, but while you're investigating the meth lab, you find 3 dead bodies. Well, can you do anything about that? Well, of course, because you were in there legally. You were in there legally, and you found another crime. While you were investigating one crime, you found another. So that's how I look at it. Now, I'm not saying that I'm the sharpest potato either, but, that's what I think. Now, insert Rudy. Now, that's Rudy Giuliani. First public statement. It shouldn't take more than a week or two to come to a resolution on the probe. And that is a direct quote from Giuliani, provided to us by Q. And this, I'm not going to go out and read this because we have looked at this before, but it's Rudy to rescue. Rudy to the rescue, basically. Giuliani vows to wrap up Mueller probe. Now, Q says, think resignations. Who has the power? Well, POTUS has the power to encourage or force resignations, right? Didn't we hear that before, that he would let people off, or he would whatever if they just either resigned or promised not to run again or whatever? And certainly POTUS has the power to encourage or to actually force resignations. Now, Q asks us, if POTUS was in a weakened position about to be impeached or indicted, would they resign? No. Let's say you work for a corporation and you know that your boss is being investigated, and your boss is very crooked and he's about to be fired or whatever, demoted, fired, and he says to you, I want you to resign. But you know that right behind him, is, another power that's going to be, he's powerless now because he's just, in his position, but he's really in a lot of trouble and he's about to be demoted or fired or whatever. Would you resign? Of course not. No, because he wouldn't have the power to do that anymore. He would be impotent in some senses, not in the true sense, but so Yeah, I can totally see that. If POTUS were in a weakened position, about to be impeached or indicted, would they resign? No, they'd be like, yeah, go screw yourself. I'm staying. Right? I would. If I was in a position like that, and the president came to me and said, "Okay, you need to resign," but I knew that he was about to be impeached and indicted, I'd be like, don't think so. So I said, of course not. If POTUS was in a weakened position about to be impeached or indicted, would they resign? Of course not. No, it would be silly to think otherwise. Why are we here? Well, that's a not physiological, psychological. No, philosophical. My gosh, what is wrong with me? I haven't been drinking, I swear. And I haven't been doing anything else I shouldn't be doing either. So, that's an odd question, isn't it? Why are we here? Okay, here. Yeah, now it clicked in all of a sudden. Why are we here? Why is Q here? Why is Q on the 8chan board? Really? And he said it's a public forum, and it is. The world's watching. The world is watching. I don't think the world was at first, and I think it took a very long time for Q to prove himself, herself, themselves, but the world is definitely watching, and you can be sure the deep state's watching. Oh, yes, they are. Definitely. Maybe not originally, but they sure are now. They sure are now. And I think using, Q it's genius, really, what they do, because they have really been able to rally those that support Trump and support him being president because he's duly elected, in one place, and able to kind of gather us as a team and put our differences aside, like stupid differences. So it's genius, really. Okay. Now he's saying sharing of intel to bad actors. Now, I said it provides a meeting place where people in support of our president can gather and receive official communication and information as to what is going on. And isn't that what we're looking for? Isn't that why you even listen to me? Because you want to know what's going on. You want, Q is officially communicating, and you want to know what's going on. And a lot of you are working, long hours and have families and have all sorts of responsibilities, and you don't have time to sit there and take apart every single thing that Q says, because trust me, it's very time consuming. So I get that. I totally get that. So you come to somebody that you trust, and I'm not the only one. There's others that are out there that are reporting on this, that are doing a great job. And I don't even consider myself that I'm doing that great a job. I'm trying to do my part. But that's why you're here, right? I mean, you want to know what's going on. You want to gather official communication and information to know. And says world watching, sharing of intel to bad actors. Well, yeah, at times it seems as if there is a sharing of intel to the deep state or bad actors, but I think it's all part of the game. It's all part of the game. And I think it's up to us to realize when we're being, just like with Syria, I don't think we've got the right information about that. And I think that it's for a purpose. I don't think we've received the right information from the mainstream media, and I don't think we've received the right information from Q. And I don't think Q can give us the right information at this point. I think that there will come a point where he can, but, I think all the stuff about McStain and all that, I definitely believe that. I have no problem believing that at all, that he's was using his wife's charity, Smiles for Kids, I believe it is, to, get in money, guns, weapons, whatever. Well, guns and weapons are the same thing. I'm saying that to me, not to you, because you already know. So, yeah, I don't have any problem believing that part, but there's just some information that I don't particularly believe that we've got good intel on. Now, purpose. The purpose of sharing intel to bad actors, well, I think sometimes it causes them to show their hand, you know? I don't know. I think there is definitely a purpose, or it wouldn't be being done. Not confirming Supreme Court is on team. Question everything. Timing important. Planned. Q. So Q is saying, I'm not confirming that the Supreme Court is on the team. Question everything. Timing important. Planned. Q. Yes, we know it's planned. We know everything's been planned a long time in advance. And I believe that everything is proceeding as it's supposed to proceed. At this point, anyway. Now, I grabbed this from someone's Twitter page, I believe, on the improving North Korea situation. Chris Matthews, purveyor of fake news. It was the Olympics. Chung, I'm not sure how to pronounce his middle name there. Chung Yao. I'm going to have to look up how to say that. South Korean National Security Advisor says it was Trump. Who do you believe? I know who I believe. And I'm pretty sure you do too. Now, Q says, peace on the Korean Peninsula isn't big news? Should we drop a Moab on that? Timetables shift next week. Q. So he's saying, you know, he's questioning, why isn't the peace on the Korean Peninsula huge news? You know, if Obama had done that, I mean, he won a Nobel Peace Prize for doing nothing. So Trump should win something. I don't know what, but I wouldn't want to receive a Nobel Peace Prize after Obama, because it's kind of like he cheapened it. To me, it's like, it used to be like, oh, wow, this person got a Nobel Peace Prize. Now it's kind of like, he cheapened it. He really did. Okay. So he says, should we drop a Moab on that? Like, should we drop a mother of all bombs on that? Interesting. But then he says timetables shift next week. Q. So that remains to be seen next week what's going to happen. But we've had an eventful week this week. So here's the next one. This is an Anon posting, Q. Normies only watch CNN. They don't even know any of this is happening. We are too smug. Now, Q says to this person, hope not. Might as well go sit in the CIA. Russia grounding our military planes in Syria, military aircraft crashing in U.S. Coincidence? Otis need Red Bull. Q. Although he's asking that as a question. Otis need Red Bull? Q. He's saying, look, saying normies only watch CNN. They don't know any of this is happening. We're too smug, he's saying. And that part right here, we're too smug. That's what Q is taking, I think, a little bit of offense at. He's saying, I hope not. Because if you are smug, you might as well go sit in the CIA. And then he's saying, Russia grounding our military planes, military aircraft crashing in U.S., and he's pointing to the CIA. Because that's what this is about. And he's saying, coincidence? Otis need a Red Bull? So I think he took a little bit of offense at this. We are too smug. Hope not. Might as well go sit in the CIA if you're smug. Yeah. So let's go on, and here is the next Q post. Focus only on the FBI. for now. Jim Rybicki, Chief of Staff and Senior Counselor, fired. James Baker, General Counsel, fired. Andrew McCabe, Deputy Director, fired. James Comey, Director, fired. Bill Priestap, Head of Counterintelligence and Strzok's boss, cooperating witness, his power removed. Peter Strzok, Deputy Assistant Director of the Counterintelligence, cooperating witness, power removed. Lisa Page, attorney with the FBI's Office of the General Counsel, cooperating witness, power removed. Conspiracy? Think about the above, only the above. Get the picture? Q. Yeah, I think we do. Look at how many people in the FBI have been fired. And now the power's been removed from these three, but they are cooperating as witnesses. That's big. That's a lot of people from one department, the FBI. Yeah, it's big. Now, I think that was the last post, and I hadn't seen any for today yet, but I will. I'm always tempted to say I'll keep my eyes peeled, because that's what my mother used to say, and they say that as you get older you sound more and more like your mother, and I think it's true. But she always said keep your eyes peeled, and I think that sounds so incredibly painful, so don't keep your eyes peeled. Or I shouldn't keep my eyes peeled, but I will keep, and I don't want to keep an eye out either, because that sounds painful too, you know, to take one eye out. I don't know. So I will keep looking. I will stay alert for any more Q posts. Now, I did want to show you a couple things that I had grabbed. This is a tweet by Donald Trump. Clapper lied about fraudulent dossier leaks to CNN at Fox and Friends, Fox News. He is a lying machine who now works for fake news CNN. He never minces words, does he? Donald Trump, another tweet. House Intelligence Committee rules that there was no collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. As I have been saying all along, it is all a big hoax by the Democrats based on payments and lies. There should never have been a special counsel appointed. Witch hunt. And this is the very last thing that I grabbed, and it says a former Feinstein staffer raised $50 million and used it to hire Fusion GPS and Christopher Steele after the election to keep pushing the bogus Russia narrative. Feinstein never disclosed it, even while overseeing an investigation of Fusion. Uh-oh. Former Feinstein staffer hired Fusion GPS, Christopher Steele. A declassified report confirms earlier reporting by the Federalist that Daniel Jones hired Fusion GPS and Christopher Steele after the election. After. So, there you go. Now, that is a very full video, and I've provided a lot of information here, so I'm going to go. And I will stay alert for any more Q posts. Now, if you want to subscribe, please subscribe. And if you want to stay subscribed, make sure you're still subscribed, because as I've told you many times, they keep dropping people. And hit the bell to be notified of new videos. And thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. And I know you appreciate me, because you tell me that all the time, and I appreciate being appreciated. So I appreciate you right back. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Please stay safe.